You can't even run for president until you're 35. But I could decide if I could do porn? She moved into the house 2 days after their first date. We need to protect these young women. You all were kissing that 80-year-old man in the mouth. Hey y'all, hey y'all. I had to get themed for today's video. A little, you know. Ooh. Okay, coming back into focus. When you spend the money, investments. If you're back, hey. If it's your first time here, hey. Thanks if you're here from my first video. I appreciate you watching and tuning in for this one. This is 347 Froze, an unapologetic place for you to hear any and everything. Unapologetically you, unapologetically me, unapologetically us. I'm all excited because I look cute. I'm so happy I was on a date for this video. I'm gonna handy dandy notebook. I'm gonna be looking at this a lot for reference. Just go along with it. Keep it calm, cool, and collective. I really like this show. I grew up watching this show. It used to get played in the house all the time. We never looked at it as over-sexualization. It was just very fascinating about how the women lived. We were over-sexualized. There was no corny cliche to it. We watched it, we loved it, we kept it pushing, and it was a really good ass show. I watched all the seasons and I rewatched them recently because Haley Gamba is this YouTuber I watch, and she referenced Call Her Daddy. I went on her show's page, Holly Madison, OMG Girls Next Door. And I watched the whole show. And the Breakfast Club the other day mentioned Truth Come Out reveal of Hugh Hefner and the life at Playboy and at the mansion. And I was like, I just watched this show, kid you not, binge watched it maybe 2 weeks ago. Let's get into the video. When you're young, the world is your oyster. What are the magic words they always say? You have your whole life ahead of you. You're in your prime. Enjoy it while you can. It'll be the best years of your life. Oh, gee, thanks. Guess I don't care about getting old. Who needs it, right? Being fed propaganda like this, ridiculous. It's the best you'll bounce back from eating junk food. It's the highest you'll jump. It's the best you can run. Oh, and for women, it's the tightest your skin will be, the perkiest your boobs will be. Pretty much the best years of your life. That's about it. Around this time, you're ideally what? 18 to 22? I'm only saying that for legal purposes only. Realistically, creep factor really starts pumping in what, 16, 15? Really when your hormones start changing and things start moving. Everybody's like, whoa, look at your womanly figure coming in. Ridiculous. But then at the same time, your brain isn't even fully developed at this time in life. And yet, this would be the most lucrative time in your life to make the most money off of your physical appearance and your God-given body. Welcome to how Playboy, Call Her Daddy, and Mia Khalifa all have so many things in common when it comes to selling sex to young women at young ages at the expense of men and society making money off of them. We're gonna start off with The Girls Next Door. Airing on August 7, 2005, the show was created through the lens of the lavish lifestyle of these women living at the Playboy mansion. With Hugh Hefner, his over-the-top lifestyle he's been able to acclaim. This includes, but not limited to, huge vacations, huge parties, and living in the limelight with multiple guests and celebrities they see on a regular day. All came once again from living at the mansion. The first 5 seasons consisted of following his main 3 girlfriends at the time, Holly, Kendra, and Bridget. And then the next 2 seasons, which were the last 2, followed Krista and the 2 twins, Carissa and Christina. For the purposes of my video, I'm only gonna talk about the 3 main OGs to me, which were the first 5 seasons. I'm assuming the premise of the show was to show more of a day in the life at Playboy because they showed more of the girls doing test shoots, photo shoots, many girls in the running for Playmate, a lot of the behind the scenes when it came to creative directing at the Playboy studio. I guess they wanted to show not just girls naked taking pictures, more work to it, which it was, and it was very fascinating on that end, finding out what work it took to get a successful shot, what their criteria of work needed to be put in when finalizing who they would put in campaigns and who made Playmate for that month or who was Playmate of the Year and all the great accolades it made for these girls. It made so many young girls' lives. Being Playboy left their small towns. I'm gonna get to that later. They're thanking Hugh Hefner. They are crying. One of the seasons, they talk heavily about prizes. If you're a playmate, and then they get like $100,000. They get a car. They get like an fold spread, pages 5 to 10 or something like that. And then they get the cover. What? And then all the girlfriends always said, once a girl wins Playmate. I know I'm trying to sound like one of them, right? Once a girl wins Playmate, she gets whisked away into the world and all these new opportunities come for her. Like, word? I mean, I don't blame these girls for going as hard as they did when these opportunities came and why they cried so hard coming from their small towns for having some really good perky boobs and taking some pictures when the flash was on. This leads into young women with Hugh Hefner because of these girls that would get these life-changing opportunities were all very, very young. Back to the script. Hugh Hefner is the creator of Playboy, dating back to the 1950s when the first spread was Marilyn Monroe. I think it was 1953. I did my research, but I don't really remember it all, so don't kill the messenger. If I'm wrong about anything, please comment it below and correct me. I'm open to learning all the time. Right, so let's say 1950s ideally, right? This man was born in 1926. Young girls wanting to win over his approval because of who he was, the legacy he's created with Playboy. And throughout the show, he kisses every person on the lips. And when I say every person, I meant like every young girl. Kisses them all on the lips. Let's do the age difference. This show aired 05, 06, 07, right? 1926 to 06 is what? You pushing 80? Girlfriends that I knew verbatim were 19, maybe like 30 almost, and 24. Boom. Boom. Love with somebody your own age. I'm not discrediting gap in dating thing. Love who you love. I don't hate on that at all. Doesn't it seem kind of forced when these women get these life-changing opportunities and it's this old ass man giving it to them? Like, of course I'm pecking you on the lips. I don't care. I'm not going back home to nothing. Old ass, gross ass man kissing all these women on the lips. And it wasn't just his girlfriends, the playmates, that was how he greeted them. You see it numerous times on the shows. When the girls' moms came in to like hang out for a couple days, he was super inviting of who he let over to his house. Every greeting was, and I was like, ooh, not when that's how you greet everybody. Like, that's kind of gross. My girl over at Call Her Daddy even said to Holly during Holly's interview, I'll go into a little more in depth later, quoted, "You all were kissing that 80-year-old man in the mouth." And when she said it, it sounded disgusting, which reiterated for me, yeah, that wasn't right. Like, what a time to be alive in the early 2000s, because that's not okay at all. So again, I'll always go back to the point with this life-changing career he gave these women. And you really blame them? That leads me into my next section. The lavish life. Can you really blame them? How different this is of a lifestyle for them to live when they come from these small towns with no money, and these parents. There are clips, all the parents of these young women, whether you're a Playmate candidate or you have the awards for Playmate come up, those parents come out. The young girlfriends that are his at the time, they go visit the families come live on the mansion, like, and the parents are just co-signing the shit. But when you go back home and see where these girls grew up, Hugh Hefner is the biggest thing in most of these women's lives. Holly mentions on her interview over at Call Her Daddy that they were given 100,000. I'm a joke because I just said 100,000. Yeah, okay. That they were given a weekly allowance of $1,000. 1K in the early 2000s to sleep in your mansion, to have your house service. They did anything for those girls. Yeah, I think I'm gonna take it too. Now, I'm not gonna discredit they did have to sleep with him. Holly does disclose that. She goes, we all had to sleep with him. We slept with him, I wanna say, what'd she say? 2 times a week? It was like a big orgy. He was on his Viagra. He was kind of just getting off at the girls and they were all hot and young, and I guess they all rode, she said, because he had no stamina and no energy to do anything else. I mean, that part of it, ixnay, but weekly allowance to just live at that house. Back then, $1,000 a week, that's real cute. That's 4K a month. 4 times 12 is what, 36? So you're making a low grade teacher salary to just look cute. Now, I'm not talking about the mental turmoil. I'm not talking about any of the traumatized parts of this. I'm just talking about the cold hard fact, the lavish purposes of living at this house. In the same breath, granted they all were given these amazing amounts of money, they were all very pretty women for that time standards, who came from backgrounds that were nothing like the mansion. I always keep saying that. On the show, they were sent on a multitude of trips. They went to Europe twice, back home to see each family, took the girls with them, some even took half, and they traveled in the most comfortable ways. As far as private jet, when they went back to Kendra's hometown, rode a freaking caboose train all the way there, and I think they kind of like rented out the whole train for those women and that crew, and half and all comfortability aspects. Rolling with the little old man on your arm, I guess ain't bad, you know? Let's not forget, these women are ages 19 to 25. See how women are constantly selling in this day and age. Out, I don't want to curse too much, I gotta get better at that. Out for a Birkin, or ride that, then take his money. It's the same as propaganda, just a different time period. All the women that are idolized currently in pop culture are all under 30, just like those women in the Playboy mansion, the girlfriends of Hugh Hefner, and the young playmates. They're all under 30 in this day and age. They're going on these big trips, wearing all this flashy jewelry, wearing designer, flexing, and riding in exotic cars. Same premise, different time period. But I want to get back to the show. The dynamic with Hef and each girlfriend. I'm gonna give a quick little synopsis. I'm gonna read this, but I'm really gonna talk about how I feel about each girl because they were all different AF. I'm gonna start with Bridget. Bridget is the sweet one. She's the book smart one. Her whole angle on the show was, I got my degree and then I got my master. She's such a sweet girl. Her room was pink. Her room was a pink, Barbie dream house pink. She loved Halloween, and that was a constant running gimmick they played in the show. Every party was a big deal at the mansion. The birthdays were a big deal too. What they would do for each woman is they would kind of cater it towards whatever you wanted to do. That's pretty much all it was because they had endless abundance of money. Bridget liked to do Halloween themed parties. The first season, it was Murder Mystery, and then I know like there was another season with her birthday and they did Murder Mystery 2, just a different decade. Rent out one of those role-playing companies and they would do scavenger hunts around the mansion. You'd have to run to the fitness center to get something. A part of the murder happened at the pool, then they'd run to the pool, and it was really, really cute. They go all out for the girls for their birthdays. I'm naming things in the show that happened that I know was because of this lifestyle she's a part of now. She got a puppy that was brand new. She also got a Porsche. When the show got bigger in one of the later seasons, she was able to test drive a Porsche for a couple weeks. And then I guess she kept telling Hef, like, honey, I really love this Porsche. It's so cute. And it was this cute little red Porsche. And she batted them cute eyes and had them cute boobs. And he definitely said, go get you that car, girl. Just keep it. A big part of her storyline was she really wanted to be a playmate. I always say, you know, the girlfriends would never be considered contenders for playmate. He had even told Bridget that she wasn't the standards for playmate. He told her her physique wasn't it, her body wasn't it, it just wasn't a go for her. And she was so devastated. The fact that whatever standards were back then, she just didn't fit it. Back then, there was an episode, I can't find it. I'm ruining the show, whatever. Once the show got kind of big, he decided to do a spread of the girlfriends. And each girlfriend had a themed photo shoot that was like them. And I remember the angle the reality show took as far as the producers would portray Bridget. She was the bigger girl. That girl is not big. She was the bigger girl. I remember, I think they tried to like cover her up a little more when it came to like, you know, costume stuff. And I'm like, what are we covering up? She's supposed to be naked and she looked good. Like looking at the show now, oh my God, standards in early 2000s was girlfriends. Girlfriends. All I can say, tall, lean, model. We already know, you know. That was Bridget. My girl Kendra. Kendra was my favorite when I was little. Looking back, there were a couple like questionable red flag things about the girl. You know what, it's cool. She alright in my book. Watching back the show now, she is very different from the other two because she felt like, I'm not the conventional girl. I like sports. I'm more of a, I'll get dirty. Yeah, I'm a platinum blonde and my tits are popping, but I'll rap all these West Coast words and you can hike the ball to me or whatever. Oh, how she got into the house? Her story is Mardi Gras parties at the house. Once again, the parties are ridiculous. They have painted women. She was 18 or 19 at the time and she was a painted woman. Around the house, pictures would get taken all the time. One of the pictures of Kendra ended up on one of the like administrative desks in the office, Hef gotta look at the picture and say, who's this girl? Who's this girl? Secretary at the time, Mary, was like, she's downstairs, like, what's still going on? He went down, vetted out Kendra, who's the painted girl. That was literally her story. And now she's in the show. She was 19. She was 19. She's a baby. A baby. She doesn't really care about the glitz. She hates the whole bunny outfit thing. She never puts it on. She's more into, we're going on this lit trip. I want to meet these lit things, these lit people, live life to the fullest because I'm 19. That leads us to none other than OG Holly. Holly was Hef's #1 girlfriend. She loved that man up and down so bad. So bad, so bad, so bad, so bad, so bad. She was pretty much everything Playboy. She's very structured and well-mannered. She moved into the house 2 days after their first date. It was it was, hey, moving. Holly takes care of things around the house. Sorry, not house, ixnay. Around the mansion. The mansion's upkeep. She wants to leave her staple as Hef's girlfriend. That was her main driving point, or at least that's what producers made it seem like. There was a whole episode that she redid the whole gym. It was like, you know, puffin'. That's what she called him, puffin'. She's like, puffin', I feel like it's not cute down here and it's so outdated. Let me just redo everything. And I'm not gonna lie, the producer did a good job at making her look like the bad guy. When I said bad guy, as far as like the really like selfish girlfriend that was like, I can't wait till these girls leave. It's gonna be me and Hef till the end. Bridget had mentioned that early in the show. You know, Holly, a main contender, and we're just here for icing on the cake. Literally her words in the first episode. We are icing on the cake and Holly is the main girl. Holly slept in his room. The other 2 girls had their own rooms. Holly slept in his room. That was her bedroom. Her agenda throughout the show, she always wanted to work for Playboy. She wanted to be an editor so bad. She pushed herself there, and as the seasons progressed, they would show more clips of her going over to Playboy Studios and editing test shots and scouting girls and all that kind of stuff. She wanted to really be a part of that side of things more than anything else. She later, this was 6 years ago, I don't know the exact date, comes out with a book called Down the Rabbit Hole. It's her perception on how terrible the Playboy Mansion truly was. In 2021, she went on Call Her Daddy to speak about what happened at great lengths with her time at the Playboy Mansion, which transitions into seamlessly Call Her Daddy. Call Her Daddy. That name is tough. Haley Gamba was like, yeah, so I got these blowjob tips from Call Her Daddy. You know, you could definitely like listen to the show. I said, Call Her Daddy. Let's Call Her Daddy. So originated by Alexandra Cooper with her co-host at the time, Sophia Franklin. This show started in 2018. The purpose behind the podcast is to bulldoze, this was what it said online, to bulldoze a lane by spitting in the face of misogyny and putting a modern twist on feminism. Produces raw and relevant and raunchy topics that promote sexual liberation by stripping away any barriers of judgment of masculine energy. Her show becomes a stomping ground for women who end up with a more sexually open career. From the one episode I saw of Holly, when I was surfing through what her topics are, the woman openly talks about sex, and I wish I was able to find out a little more about her past. I think she had a sex tape like leak or something with her boyfriend, and then she kind of flipped the narrative of like, you know what, this happened, it is what it is, I still have a brain, I'm still intelligent, you know, F off. Quite frankly, just leave us alone. Why is sex so cliche? We all have body parts. Most of these women that enter these fields are so young, which is the running point of this video. They are so young and impressionable. There's nobody hearing their sides out of things in the long term, having their back, and really giving these women a platform to talk about any and everything on. That's what I liked about Call Her Daddy. When I did see the show, I thought it was pretty cool for that. So Holly goes on the podcast to talk about multiple things from her Playboy days. Gonna think of a couple on the fly that really stuck out to me. She mentioned the producers came to them in the beginning and told them, listen, we're gonna have this angle for each girl. Holly, you're gonna be obsessed with Hef. Bridget, you're gonna be the book smart one. And Kendra, you're gonna party. And Holly was so upset. She said, yo, I went to school, I did something else. Like, there's more to me than just being obsessed with the man. It was just the image the producers ran with, and you can totally see it on the show. Like I mentioned before when I was describing each girl, the producers did a great job of making sure what she just said was totally something you can see when you watch the 22 minutes of a show. So back then she had mentioned if you were on set and you were shooting your clips and your scenes, whatever they didn't like, They scratched it and told you to redo it again. Redo it again until it was what they got that made Hef sound good, that made the experience sound great, and that made everybody sound happy. She also mentioned during her experience, she didn't try to be the favorite, pretty laid back person. So the fact that most of the other women had secret boyfriends on the sides or wouldn't come back for curfew, which I still think is freaking ridiculous that there was a curfew, 9 o'clock curfew. What kind of crap is that? They're grown women. Whatever. Most women did other things and Holly just kind of went by the rules. Like, she didn't look at it as opportunity to do extra stuff. She was grateful for what she had and she kept it pushing. She liked his old ass friends. Now, I think she has an old spirit, personally. He always used Holly as the staple. As, why can't you be like Holly? Why can't you be like Holly? At that time, Alexandra got at during the interview, she had asked her, everybody want to be the #1 girlfriend? And she said no. She said everybody wants to sneak out, do their own thing. Like, nobody wants Hef on their back, like his old ass, you know? She didn't say that exactly, but I just ad-libbed a little. She said that being the #1 girlfriend, everybody pushed me in that position because it would give them more leeway to do what they wanted. And it's just so crazy looking back and watching it now because the show was just so played up to make it look like they liked it. She even said it during the interview. Dude, it's the early 2000s. Everything that was on TV was a happy-go-lucky special. People wanted lighthearted shows to tune into. Nobody was going to talk about any of us crying, the depths of what was really going on at XYZ. The point that I really took out of her podcast interview was her mentioning, I'm from Alaska. I came to Cali to live my dreams. To see that all my roommates, when I first got out here, were trying to go back home because they couldn't fit the bill or afford anything. I took this opportunity as no way I can go back. That shit hurt when she said it because I know that's what most of those young girls thought. Where am I going? I'll go back home? I'm gonna go back home. And that's usually how this goes. They believe that they have no other options when it comes to making it. Call Her Daddy is a great safe space for women like Holly to go on there and talk about their past experiences freely. Other women that have appeared on this show, like Holly, fall in the categories of Mia Khalifa, which who we're gonna talk about at great lengths right now. Mia Khalifa. Girl, I'm sorry if I'm saying your name wrong. I think it's right. I watched the interview with you. I Call Her Daddy, and I think I'm saying it right. If I'm not, somebody correct me, please. Mia Khalifa is a Lebanese-American media personality. Originally a porn star and webcam girl, her career started in October 2014. She went viral on Pornhub due to her doing a very controversial scene where she performed a scene wearing a hijab, which is worn out of cultural and religious beliefs. Her upbringing in America wasn't the best. In her younger years, she was bullied for being weird. It all happened around the height of 9/11. So it was post 9/11. She is of Muslim descent, Muslim religion or cultural background to that extent. She's young, her parents are conservative. It's a lot going on for this young girl, and she was in high school around that time. Due to the credible fame she gained quickly from Pornhub, her conservative parents, like I mentioned before, they disowned her publicly, along with her cultural roots, banning her from her country. It's even gotten so extreme that there were pictures online of really graphic images I'm not gonna explain. She just was always good at laughing at the posts. Along the lines of like burning her or whatever, and she was like, listen, at least I'm on fire, or at least I'm hot. Like, she made a joke about it because what are you gonna do, you know? She didn't know any better. What are you gonna do? Even mentioned she's been co-signed by huge activists years later, around now. They getting backlash because they are okay with her. Made some mistakes when she was younger. A person happens. She didn't know it was gonna happen to this notoriety level. When I was looking it up online, she had something called Streisand effect, which is you wanting to check something out because it's controversial and it's something that's frowned upon. Like, I knew her name before I knew who she was. I never understood the hype around her until I started doing the research and I saw what the video looked like, saw why it was a problem. That's pretty much the only reason why she blew up. People heard about her in the limelight. That wasn't good, and you go check it out. And Pornhub, I think that year she was the most viewed porn star at that time. The fact that younger generation activists now co-sign her and she's still getting bashed, it makes you wonder, why'd she even do it? Well, she didn't fit in. She didn't know how to fully figure out who she was at that time. She talks about it a lot on Call Her Daddy. She's also extremely young. When she started camming, well, that's what it's called, this webcamming, I guess, she didn't realize what would happen. I guess that's the outcome, like I had mentioned before, of doing something like this. She had mentioned on Call Her Daddy, when she was on set for this scene, she had told them when they came to her, basic ass white men with this idea of wearing a hijab. She was like, y'all gonna get me killed, you know? And she said it and they laughed, and look, the girl's banished, canceled, whatever her problems she had gotten as far as harassment towards her life. She also mentioned on Call Her Daddy that the older men were asking her to sign these contracts so quickly at such a young age, and that's something Alexandra talks about at great lengths when it comes to young women in that industry. 18, 19, 20, you see these dollar signs, they're telling you everything looks great on you. Just we're gonna press play, just be yourself, act natural, nothing will be hard. Things are out in the world forever. Then you get older and then you're explaining yourself, you're wondering why you can't walk into certain rooms, why things are uncomfortable. You grow as a person. This really sickens me. Which brings me to the conclusion. So what did all of those different areas have in common? Girls Next Door, early 2000s, late 90s, Mia Khalifa, mid 2010s to even now 2020s, and Call Her Daddy, which is the focal point where both of these two pivotal points meet up. These are all about young, very young and very impressionable women. Don't think about the long-term effect when it comes to their careers. What happens in their life, once again, long-term. Most come from hardship, are willing to do what they have to do to get out of their current living situations, want a better life, or grow their careers, whatever it takes, you know, literally whatever it takes. My biggest takeaway is we need to protect these young women. We need to protect them. There needs to be stricter laws enforced, stricter contracts. They need lawyers. That needs to be a requirement. Just like young child actors, you know, we saw what happened to Macaulay Culkin. You can't touch their money. The parents, the kids get rights to their own money. There needs to be something to that stipulation about entering the adult film industry or anything around that propaganda, because these young girls are 18. You're at 18 signing off, yeah, let me just whip everything out. You 18, you still trying to decide what classes you gonna put in between math and science. They're like, oh, well, you were of age. Dude, you weren't making your own decisions at that time. What is it? 21, you could drink legally. So I'm legally an adult. I'm 18, cool. I can't drink legally. I'm still on my parents' health insurance. I'm not even a full-fledged adult. You can't even run for president until you're 35. But I could decide if I could do porn? It doesn't add up. We need to protect our women. Thank you so much for watching this video if you made it to the end. Shout out to you because you really got it. Thank you once again for staying to the end. Please comment down anything you took away from this video. Share it to a friend. Maybe they want to learn a little bit about this. Y'all probably was talking about this. Apparently, I'm not really gonna speak up like highly on that. There is a behind the tell-all docu-series that's coming out about Hef. I think it's messed up that everybody is waiting for this man to pass to just start going off about him. Like, stuff was not okay. Holly mentioned that, really sidebar, and then I'm leaving. Holly mentioned that in her interview. If Hef in the Playboy mansion existed right now, that shit would have got shut down, and it would have. Okay, it would have. That would have not. Ooh. Thank you for watching. Bye, guys. See you in the next video.